During these 4 Sundays of Black History Month, we at Morning Star will share the stories of 4 daring African American leaders in our Methodist tradition. We begin with Richard Allen, one of the founders and the first bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. When Allen returned to Philadelphia in 1786, he remained active in the Methodist Episcopal Church. He quickly joined St. George's and began to participate, to teach, even to preach there. Unfortunately, it was also at St. George's where Allen discovered a system in which a majority of white people were determined to keep him in bondage, even after he was free. The conflict reached a breaking point when the usher stopped at Allen's pew and told him to sit in the balcony with everyone else who wasn't white. And Allen refused. And he and a dozen others walked out of St. George's and into all of the opposition and the danger that came with creating a congregation that would not discriminate. A congregation that would no longer tolerate the blatant racism that was still permitted in some Methodist churches. It took a few years of persistent gathering and organizing, but in 1794, Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church was chartered by Allen and others, making it the first Black Methodist congregation in the U.S. In 1799, Allen was formally ordained in the original Methodist Episcopal Church. In 1816, a new denomination was formed by 5 of those congregations, and the Reverend Richard Allen was elected the first bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. The account of Allen's life still leaves much on the page, and ultimately the story is best told by Allen himself. Decades after his death in 1831, historians compiled an autobiography of sorts from his letters and his sermons and other church materials. The life, experience, and gospel labors of the Right Reverend Richard Allen was published posthumously in 1883. In the words of Bishop Richard Allen, I was led to see that bondage was contrary to the gospel of Christ, and that the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free was not a liberty of words only, but a liberty of life and practice. I therefore sought my freedom, trusting in the providence of God and believing that he would open a way where there appeared to be none. I was not ashamed to labor with my hands, nor afraid to trust the Lord for my support. I felt that I was acting in obedience to his will, and that he who had made me a man never designed me for slavery.